So in this video, I want to talk to you guys about what I think the most important thing I've learned in my fitness journey over the years, that I've been basically trying to understand the factors that come into play with regard to manipulating the body into looking a certain way. So I think the most important thing is that I realized that ultimately it's really a matter of me against me, you against you. That's really what it comes down to. It's much, much more a psychological game than an actual physical one. Because if you're not able to psychologically push yourself and adhere to the discipline that's required to continually do the same things over and over again, and again, maintain discipline with regard to diet and with regard to scheduling in the workouts that are required, you're never going to be able to achieve your goals. So for that reason, again, I think psychological is the first thing. The second thing that I think is that there are no gimmicks that are going to work for you. There's so much information out there that if you try to keep up with all the new trends and all the new research and stuff, you'll just end up becoming overwhelmed and probably discouraged because it's just so much. There's so much noise out there. And again, pushing you in all different kinds of directions. So what I learned from all that is that in the end, simplicity is the key. I like to simplify everything in life, and in this case, in my physical fitness journey, simplicity goes a really, really long way. What I mean by that is cut out all the bullshit. You don't need anything, actually, other than your exercise, your training, and your nutrition. That's it. Supplementation in itself, the entire category of supplementation can be just wiped away if you so desire. It's not necessary. I'm sure there are some supplements, especially compounded with others, that could give you some positive results. Yeah, but it's all bullshit. You don't need it. It's not worth your effort. It's not worth your money, and it's not worth the mental activity it's required to keep track of all that and to just try to incorporate. It's all bullshit. So my advice is to just remove that part of the equation completely. Don't even worry about supplementation. Don't worry about any of that stuff. Eat clean. Eating clean is, again, something that sounds easy to do, but even for myself, required a lot of practice and discipline. And so it took time to understand, and experimentation, of course. It takes time to understand what works for you, how your body will react to certain types of diets, frequency of meals, size of meals, and carb intake. And so there's so many different things that you need to experiment with on your own. But when it comes down to it, it's really just basic food intake and manipulation of that intake. And I think each person really needs to address that on their own for themselves, because the answers are unique to each person. We're all different in that regard. Some people can eat whatever they want and maintain a tight, muscular physique, and other people would just get fat eating the same. So it's important that you pay attention to that part of it. Another thing I want to touch on is with regard to the actual training. There are so many different philosophies out there about heavy weights, light weights, high rep, low rep, frequency, one body part a day, what kind of split you do, full body workouts, and so on. And so what I found is that those details really don't matter as much as the intensity applied to each effort, each exercise, each training session that you do. That's what it comes down to. So I found personally myself that I could have, some people I worked out with in the past could go for an hour, hour and a half, but it's an hour and a half of bullshit. Yeah, you're going through the motions, you're counting reps, and you're keeping record of what you're doing, but they're not really pushing themselves. So I found that I can basically get the equivalent in results to what took an hour or more for them in 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And that's through, again, manipulation of certain factors like intensity, like speed, like weight. But to sum up that part of it, I've found that heavy weights are not required. They are not required. It's good to fluctuate between both and try to incorporate both in a sense, but as a general rule of thumb, I think staying away from really heavy weight is probably the best advice for everybody, because it does tend to lead to injury. And it's pretty likely that if you continue with that progressive overload and keep trying to pile on as much weight as you can, you will end up injured. And so that's something we really want to avoid. So again, eat clean. Don't worry too much about all the other advice you get from others, and understand that you need to, through experimentation, find out what works for you. And just be positive. Don't think it's going to happen overnight. It's a very gradual process. It's a slow and long process, and it's real important that you enjoy it. If you're not enjoying it and it becomes like a torture for you to do, like a job, and something that you're not looking forward to, you'll never be able to adhere to the time it takes for you to really see results. So maintain a positive attitude about it. Try to enjoy it as best you can. If you want to, have friends involved and make something of a time that you share together with like-minded goals, that could help also. But just, again, simplify things, stick to the basics, and maintain a positive attitude is the bottom line. Thanks.